Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin Part 81 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. The golden-robed figure's heart quivered, and none of the other 8 monarchs dared to beg for mercy. Yes, Ancestor, the golden-robed, Feng monarch, could only accept the command. To the high and mighty Thunder Ancestor, these monarchs were merely subordinates, mere tools. Each epoch, he would cultivate a batch. At the beginning of an epoch, he might still cherish his subordinates a bit. But by the end of the epoch, their value diminished greatly. As long as a being beyond God King level emerges in the land of origin, you all need to show respect, lectured the Thunder Ancestor, looking down at them. Because within the land of origin, they are invincible. However, you don't need to worry, the Thunder Ancestor continued. Within the conditions present in the land of origin, Mount Latang is absolutely safe. Nobody should even dream of invading Mount Latang. The 8 monarchs understood. They grasped the Ancestor's intentions. If the Ancestor could do nothing against the Galaxy Ruler, similarly the Galaxy Ruler would not dare to act rashly on Mount Latang. During my seclusion, were there any gains? The Thunder Ancestor asked again. Ancestor, we have obtained a portion of the spiritual rosy clouds, the Lei Xiao monarch reported respectfully, presenting the treasure. The Thunder Ancestor nodded slightly upon hearing this. As an epoch neared its end, it became increasingly difficult to find treasures. The Thunder Ancestor gazed at the spiritual rosy clouds within the box in front of him, which resembled a liquid, and nodded in satisfaction, instructing, "You may all leave." Amidst the reverential retreat of the monarchs, Flame Wind. The Thunder Ancestor sat there, but used his thoughts to contact his old friend, the primogenitor Yang Feng. He emerged from seclusion at the same time as the primogenitor Yang Feng. Flame Wind, you know about the matter with the Galaxy Ruler, right? What are you planning to do? The Thunder Ancestor inquired. In the world beyond the Source World, this Galaxy Ruler might be inexperienced. But on the land of origin, both of us are also helpless against him, primogenitor Yang Feng said with a smile. What can I do? I can only endure. How about both of us meet this young fellow together, to scare him a bit, the Thunder Ancestor suggested. After all, he will eventually have to leave the Source World, and will inevitably need our help. Both of them had cultivated for several epochs, accumulating profound resources, and had extensive networks of friends. The Thunder Ancestor had cultivated to the perfection stage of Divine Emperor, and was now pursuing the final step of Bloodline Ultimate Awakening, to break free from the braided cage. Primogenitor Yang Feng was in the late stages of Divine Emperor, yet he was among the enlightened. In terms of strength, he was almost on par with the Thunder Ancestor. Among the cultivator camp, the lineage of the enlightened was generally held in higher regard. There's no need to intimidate him since we're from the same Source World, said primogenitor Yang Feng. Besides, if we really push the Galaxy Ruler too hard, and he goes berserk, then the order on the land of origin will be completely disrupted. The Thunder Ancestor understood this rationale. The supreme rules of the land of origin put a cap on power, ensuring that everyone above God King level had nothing to fear. Both ancestors of the ancient countries had to weigh their actions carefully. The East Extreme Domain Ancestor might give them leeway, but the Galaxy Ruler may not. Fine, we won't meet him then, the Thunder Ancestor decided. As a junior, he won't have much to do with us once he leaves the Source World. To maintain distance is good for both him and us. Primogenitor Yang Feng had no intention of meeting Luo Feng either. Distance could make things more pleasant. All sides could address things more calmly. How was the harvest this time from dissecting the corpse of a high-level primordial life? Do you have confidence in reaching the perfection of the Divine Emperor? The Thunder Ancestor asked. The harvest was significant. Primogenitor Yang Feng was somewhat excited. A high-level primordial life is many times more complex than a low-level primordial life. With the gains from this time studied in detail, I believe I can advance further. You always advance further, yet you never quite reach the perfection of Divine Emperor, the Thunder Ancestor remarked. Pioneering a path in the darkness to reach the half-primordial level is not easy, said primogenitor Yang Feng with a smile. It takes patience. The half-primordial level, that is the perfection of the Divine Emperor. Very few enlightened ones have reached the perfection of the Divine Emperor. If the enlightened step up from the half-primordial level to the primordial level, the path they enlightened would be, at the primordial level, a leap to the heavens, and they would become the most powerful primordial life. Elders like Yuan eagerly anticipated the birth of such peers. I am patient, but I worry that we don't have enough time. The camp of innate primordial life beings is too strong. The Thunder Ancestor voiced his concern. Any day now, the land of origin could face an invasion of innate primordial life beings. If the land of origin falls, so do we. If that's fate, so be it. Primogenitor Yang Feng replied, worrying is of no use. Atop Mount Leitang, the Ancestor evidently has given his tacit consent to the galaxy ruler's actions. The Ancestor also said no one could kill their way into Mount Leitang. Given that, as long as we hide safely within Mount Leitang, we can totally send minions out to capture creatures. As the land of origin gradually approaches its end, we will need to leave to venture elsewhere, so we must seize more creatures to nurture our bloodlines. You have avatars, but I don't. Isn't it the same if your true body hides in Mount Leitang while you send out puppets to reap the benefits? The two monarchs quietly discussed. They had endured for 300 eras, originally hoping the Thunder Ancestor would be their champion. But now that the Thunder Ancestor's stance was clear, they had only one path left. Hiding the true body within Mount Leitang and sending minions and puppets to capture creatures. HMPH, I want to see what this galaxy ruler can do about it. These two monarchs made up their minds and began to arrange their plans in secret. Once again, they stealthily captured a vast number of creatures. Brother Galaxy, both ancient country ancestors have come out of seclusion, and you should be careful with your recent actions, Emperor Qing also informed Luo Feng. Primogenitor Yang Feng is easygoing, but Thunder Ancestor, despite not being affected by the primordial bloodline, is naturally aggressive and domineering. I understand, Luo Feng acknowledged. At this moment, Luo Feng's true body was inside the Star Tower, meticulously studying the Star Tower secret patterns. During the 300 eras since establishing the Galaxy Divine Country, Luo Feng had been using the rare treasure, Primordial Crystal, to boost his soul strength and spiritual will to a level comparable to early stage of Divine Emperor, but his physical body was much weaker by comparison. Every era, Luo Feng used a maximum of 33 Primordial Crystals. Any more, and the effect was minimal. If he broke through to using 40 Primordial Crystals, the effect would decrease rapidly. The 10,000 primordial crystals he had exchanged for 3 secret treasures from Di Yuan were now all used up. He had sold some ordinary treasures from the dream domain to the 2 ancient countries and obtained another 2,000 primordial crystals. Long-term use of primordial crystals really burns through them, Luo Feng lamented. Even the 33 primordial crystals per era pained him, and future increases in strength meant further increased consumption. But the efficacy of the primordial crystals was excellent. In terms of cost-effectiveness, they were the best quality auxiliary treasures. Long-term contemplation led to a qualitative change. In Luo Feng's mind, 4 branches of the great Tao of life and death, heavenly light branch, blood-dripping branch, walker branch, eternal branch, suddenly fused perfectly into one, with no more confusion. The great Tao of life and death thus stepped into the second realm of Godly King. From then on, Luo Feng had reached the second realm of Godly King in all 3 Taos of life, destruction, and life and death. Of course, the first 2 were much easier, and several ultimate realm secret techniques had been created. I managed to create 8 branches fusion techniques, and only then did the great Tao of life and death step into the second realm of Godly King. Without accurate great Tao guidance, the requirements for accumulation are indeed much higher. Luo Feng was in high spirits. I wonder how many reward points the infinite space will give. Infinite space highly values spiritual will and the pioneering of great Taos. Infinite space. On an island in the heart of a lake, there were no spiritual beings, just an avatar of Luo Feng was here, with fog covering most of the lake. Second realm of the great Tao of life and death. Luo Feng sat cross-legged on the shore of the island, looking at the lake in front of him, and with a single thought, he began to display the mysteries of the great Tao. Whoosh! A streak of power left Luo Feng and flew out, drawing a trajectory in midair, effortlessly slicing through all layers of space and even cutting a black crack in the most fundamental membrane of infinite space, and then, this streak of power condensed into a drop of blood. This drop of blood turned into a star, slowly rolling between heaven and earth, causing the universe to tremble. Then this tiny star turned into a dark abyss, naturally beginning to devour everything around. The dark abyss was collapsing, turning into a point of light, and with the appearance of the light point, a terrifying domain spread in all directions. Just a streak of power fully displayed the many mysteries of the 4 branches of the great Tao of life and death: heavenly light branch, blood-dripping branch, walker branch, eternal branch. Only by fully understanding the mysteries can one manipulate the 4 major branches to fuse and transform at will. Finally, buzz! An information imprint appeared in Luo Feng's palm. Trialist, Luo Feng from the land of origin. Based on the great Taos of life and destruction as the foundation, a new Tao has been opened. Evaluation of the new Tao, special. Reward points, 100,000 points. On this new Tao, you have finally taken the second step. More effort is needed to fully master this Tao. Before mastering a complete Tao, your spiritual will has successfully broken through the godly king limit. Evaluation of the spiritual will, special. Reward points, 100,000 points. Your spiritual will is excellent. Perhaps, you can go even further. Reminder, any killing of spiritual beings is prohibited. Violators will be completely expelled from infinite space. Reward points total to 184,193.03. Luo Feng, upon understanding this piece of information, felt quite encouraged. Opening new paths, achieving the second realm of Godly King, rewards 100,000 points. Including the 100,000 points rewarded when spiritual will surpass the Beyond God King level. That's a total of 200,000 points, by far the largest fortune of my own. Having been in infinite space for so long, Luo Feng has always been cautious with the use of reward points. Major expenditures were mainly for the Lotus Heart Seed and Destruction Scale. As for exchanging inheritances, it was mainly the inheritances from the first and second realm of Godly King. Those extremely expensive inheritances, I haven't yet had the heart to exchange. I can't kill any spiritual beings, so the only way to get reward points is to open new paths and continue to advance my spiritual will, Luo Feng thought. Looking at the information description, fully mastering the great Tao of life and death should be rewarded. But Luo Feng also understood something. Taos such as time, space, life, infinite, destruction, and so on, exist within the supreme rules, yet even so, throughout the long eras of Land of Origin, the only ones who could comprehend the complete Taos on their own were Emperor Qing and the Lord of 10,000 Realms. Great Tao of life and death, having no reference. The difficulty of comprehending the complete great Tao of life and death, one can only imagine. Ordinary paths have guidance. Those emperors and monarchs who comprehend 5 or 6 ultimate realm secret techniques might not necessarily comprehend the entire Tao. From this, one can infer that without guidance for the great Tao of life and death, one would probably need to comprehend at least 10 ultimate realm secret techniques to have a hope of unlocking the Tao. What does it mean for spiritual will to go a step further? Luo Feng was somewhat puzzled. Before mastering the great Tao, reaching Divine Emperor level in spiritual will is rated as special evaluation. What then could be a step higher? Forget it. Luo Feng began to check the infinite space treasure vault. HM? Luo Feng was a bit surprised that Divine King Ultimate Chapter of Perfection Level Inheritance is still unseen. Perfection Level Inheritance, the God King Second Realm Chapter, generally requires 10,000 reward points. The Ultimate Chapter? Luo Feng's current reward points don't even qualify to see it. According to the pricing model of infinite space, the Ultimate Chapter is typically 20 times that of the God King Second Realm. I'm rated a special evaluation for both, and yet I don't qualify to see the Perfection Level Inheritance's Ultimate Chapter. Just what kind of talent is needed to be eligible to learn the Ultimate Chapter of Perfection Level Inheritance? Luo Feng lamented in secret. Relying on the formless and intangible, the ultimate realm primordial bloodline creatures within Land of Origin are already my limit of transformation. Luo Feng thought, and I don't cultivate the origin Tao of matter, so it's unnecessary to exchange for the ultimate chapter of world life form. These reward points must be spent on the essentials. Luo Feng carefully checked the information of one inheritance after another. Let's see the treasures. Luo Feng was very interested in those treasures because, as Emperor Qing said, treasures that start from 100,000 reward points all lend a certain assistance to escaping the braided cage and are also highly coveted by external cultivators. The number 1 ranked treasure, a sword, requires 180,000 reward points to exchange. This sword is crafted with materials from the corpse of a primordial ancestor. Thunder Dao, Destruction Path, and Material Path cultivators are all suitable for exchange, and by comprehending it, one may hope to escape the braided cage. Reminder, such treasures should be contemplated within the source world, and must not be taken out of the source world, otherwise endless troubles will ensue. The second-ranked treasure, the space-time mirror, requires 180,000 reward points to exchange. This is a mirror refined from the rare treasures of primordial space, by which one can retain memories and reincarnate into any source world without being rejected by any source world's supreme rules. To cultivate under different supreme rules in different source worlds, the cultivation benefits are immense. Reminder: 1. The space-time mirror is suitable for exchange by those cultivating the paths of time or space. For cultivators of other paths, the gains from exchange are lower. 2. This treasure must not be taken out of the source world. One by one, the treasures left Luo Feng staring agape. Even if both the path opening and spiritual will reach special evaluation, exchanging for one of these treasures would almost deplete the reward points. Luo Feng felt the high threshold for wanting to exchange for such treasures. In the arrangement by Senior Yuan, even the most dazzling peerless talents could only exchange for one of such treasures. The treasure is not wasted, provided the talent is high enough, Luo Feng mused as he continued to look. Suddenly, the 34th ranked treasure, the Eye of Life and Death, requires 120,000 reward points to exchange. This is an eye of life and death, refined from the whole body of a world-level primordial life and death pupil beast. By utilizing this eye, one can glimpse the vitality of all things, as well as the destruction weakness of all things. It's suitable for exchange by those on the path of life or destruction and can assist in comprehending the mysteries of life and destruction to aid in escaping the braided cage. Reminder: this treasure must not be taken out of the source world. A superb treasure. Luo Feng's heart soared with fervor. There are other high-ranking treasures suitable for destruction, suitable for life. The Eye of Life and Death, though, is simultaneously suitable for both life and destruction. Luo Feng finished scrutinizing the treasures one by one. Besides the Eye of Life and Death, there was another treasure that suited both life and destruction. The secret treasure, Undying Heart, exchangeable for 43,000 reward points, has the characteristics, indestructible, unlimited vitality. It can also enhance the physical body, additionally condensing a supremely powerful war body. Suitable for the cultivation of the path of life and destruction. In the entire treasure trove, only these two treasures were suitable for both the path of life and destruction. This one is quite a bit cheaper. Luo Feng was also somewhat tempted, but still, it's pretty good. The secret treasures in the infinite space treasure vault all possess conceptual abilities. Hence, Emperor Qing and the others speculated that these must have been refined by primordial lives that escaped the braided cage. Treasures above 100,000 reward points all aid in escaping the braided cage. 2/3 of these treasures that aid in escaping the braided cage cannot be taken out of the source world. Luo Feng read through that information. Especially the powerful treasures refined from the remains of primordial life forms like primordial ancestors and world-level primordial life creatures' corpses, none could be taken out. It's evident, Senior Yuan and the others truly hope that the later generations can escape from the braided cage, thought Luo Feng. Infinite space filters for spiritual wool and the opening of great Daos and selects many dazzling geniuses from the source world. It bestows inheritances and treasures upon these geniuses. Senior Yuan and the others gain nothing from this process. Perhaps the only benefit is that there might be a few more among the later generations who could escape the braided cage. I only have a little over 180,000 reward points to exchange. What should I choose? Luo Feng pondered. He still needed to consider future inheritance exchanges, so the reward points he could actually use weren't abundant. He carefully reviewed the information in the treasure trove. As for the item of spiritual will, I'm not certain whether I can receive rewards in the future. But for the Great Tao of Life and Death, as long as the complete Great Tao is mastered, there should be more reward points. Luo Feng made up his mind, mastering the complete Great Tao of Life and Death would certainly be extremely tough. But it was countless times easier than escaping the braided cage. If even the Great Tao of Life and Death cannot be fully mastered, there's no need to think too far ahead. Exchange for the Eye of Life and Death. Luo Feng decided on the spot. Reminder to the trialist, after the exchange, the trialist can use the Eye of Life and Death permanently. However, if the trialist dies completely, the Eye of Life and Death will automatically return to infinite space. An information message came, please confirm, do you still wish to exchange? Luo Feng was stunned. As long as one is alive, one can keep using the Eye of Life and Death. But if one dies, it gets reclaimed? The exotic treasures refined by Senior Yuan and the others, if one truly dies, and one's descendants are not powerful enough, not talented enough, they indeed do not have the qualifications to use such treasures. Exchange. Luo Feng did not hesitate. Exchange successful. Reminder to trialist Luo Feng, this is the 13th exchange of the Eye of Life and Death. Among the previous 12 exchanges, one managed to escape the braided cage and became a high-level primordial life form, but ultimately still perished in battle. Luo Feng's heart stirred. He was the 13th exchanger of the Eye of Life and Death. Land of origin, within Huyang City, within the quiet room of the city owner's mansion, space within the Star Tower. Buzz. Luo Feng was sitting cross-legged, as a ripple traversed through the spatial obstacles, appearing before him. It was an eye of colossal size, even after being refined and greatly reduced in size, its body was still much larger than Luo Feng's world life form. In this eye, 90% of the area was pitch black, like thickly inked clouds. Only the central area emanated dazzling golden light, which originated from countless golden secret patterns. After the successful exchange, Luo Feng also obtained detailed information about the Eye of Life and Death. According to the detailed information, the world-level primordial life form, life and death pupil beast, is in the shape of an eye. It even reaches the size of 1,000th of a regular source world. Afterwards, its entire corpse was refined into a secret treasure. After refining, it only requires Divine Emperor level will to control it. Luo Feng immediately touched the colossal eye before him with a strand of consciousness. The moment he touched it, boom! In a trance, Luo Feng saw a towering and enormous creature shaped like an eye. Facing its direct gaze, it felt like his own secrets no longer existed, everything was penetrated. Buzz. Luo Feng's spiritual will quickly permeated, touching the deepest part of the Eye of Life and Death. Within the deepest part of the Eye of Life and Death, countless secret patterns were contained. There were two types of secret patterns. One was of life, the other was of destruction. Both types of secret patterns were immensely vast and interwoven with each other, interdependent, eventually converging into the origin in the shape of an eye. Although life and destruction are not fused, their cooperation is extremely mysterious. This treasure is perfect for me, Luo Feng was astounded, he was pursuing the complete fusion of both. But observing how life and destruction cooperate still brought Luo Feng significant enlightenment. Whether it's the Star Tower or the Eye of Life and Death, it's the combination of numerous secret patterns, not a fusion into one entity. As for fusion, Luo Feng would have to explore on his own. From the inner secret patterns, the Eye of Life and Death is a large level weaker than the mystery of the Star Tower, Luo Feng could see at a glance. The gap between the two. It was like the difference between a star and the sun. The disparity was clear. But even as a star, the profundity was vast and deep like an ocean. After all, it was refined from the corpse of a complete world-level primordial life, it was full of endless obstacles for Luo Feng to thoroughly study. Buzz. When his spiritual will was completely imprinted within the inner origin eye, the entire Eye of Life and Death acknowledged its master wholeheartedly. After all, this was a secret treasure refined by Senior Yuan and others. It was easy to utilize. The colossal Eye of Life and Death rapidly shrunk and simultaneously flew towards Luo Feng, entering the spot between his eyebrows. In fact, as a secret treasure, this Eye of Life and Death can be placed separately, such as on the palm of the hand or other positions. However, being a creature from Earth, Luo Feng was accustomed to placing his third eye at the spot between his eyebrows. Open your eye and take a look at this world. Luo Feng's Eye of Life and Death between his eyebrows slowly opened. The Eye of Life and Death was comprised of 90% blackness, with only the pupil emanating a piercing golden light. Under Luo Feng's control, the walls of Star Tower posed no hindrance, and with a single glance, he could already see the outside world and its heavens and earth. The first thing he saw was Huyang City. Within Huyang City resided billions of creatures. With just one sweep of his vision, Luo Feng completely saw through their lives, whether it was their physical bodies or souls, including their most basic life composition. There were no secrets. It was only the ultimate realm beasts that posed a slight hindrance. Morosa. Luo Feng looked over the entire city. The slightly concealed ultimate realm beast, with its great Tao perfection, was beyond his ability to probe all of Morosa's secrets. Under the Eye of Life and Death, Luo Feng still saw the world within Morosa, a world whose essence was a complete path of destruction in motion. Just like the essence of the primordial cosmos, which was a complete great Tao of life in motion. The world within Morosa, having reached its pinnacle state, could now rival that of the primordial cosmos. The strongest aspect of Morosa is the world inside him. If he could use the world inside him more ingeniously, his power could advance even further. However, his destruction weakness is also the world inside him. The operation of a world has its weak points. By targeting these weaknesses, the operating rules can easily collapse. If the world is annihilated, it means the complete extinction of Morosa. Luo Feng still had some confusion regarding the world inside Morosa. Yet from what he could only partly probe, he found at least 7 weaknesses in its operation. He was confident that with a blink of an eye, he could destroy the functioning of the world within Morosa, leading to Morosa's demise. To be able to see the most powerful aspects of life, as well as the fatal weaknesses. Luo Feng looked beyond Huyang City. Under the Eye of Life and Death, all the mightiest beings across the land of origin could no longer hide. The Lord of Shadow Sky Realm, Piyushin Godly King, and other mysterious entities, all were exposed under Luo Feng's Eye of Life and Death. Breaking through formations' obstructions, through hidden spatial barriers, he saw these powerful beings. Creatures with primordial bloodline. Luo Feng also observed the primordial bloodline creatures cultivated by the 2 ancient countries. Although these creatures were usually hidden in independent spaces and further concealed by formations, none could avoid his gaze. The land of origin, in its entirety, has 9 kinds of ultimate realm primordial bloodline creatures. Luo Feng saw clearly. The weakest only has 3 forms. The strongest possesses 12 forms. With the Eye of Life and Death, Luo Feng could break through many formation obstructions and spatial barriers, seeing those primordial bloodline creatures even to the core of their life composition. These primordial bloodline creatures had low intelligence, with the most special feature being their bloodline within them. Under Luo Feng's insight, these bloodlines were completely unguarded. Not to mention the stronghold of vitality and the destruction weakness, he could see through their entire being, inside and out. I don't even need to gather materials from these bloodline creatures to comprehend their life forms, even their matter, I understand and can transform into, Luo Feng marveled. He had previously collected materials from 3 ultimate realm primordial bloodline creatures. But now, there's no need to collect any more. As long as he was in the land of origin, under the observation of the Eye of Life and Death, it was as if he had them in his hands for close inspection, with no difference. The 3 alien clans, both ancestors of the countries, and the East Extreme Domain Ancestor. Luo Feng also saw them, frowning slightly, however, observing them is too obscure. These divine emperor-level existences had realms much higher than those of the primordial bloodline creatures. Their lives were more mysterious, protected by various secret techniques. Even Luo Feng could not see their core life composition. He could only see the basic capabilities, the stronghold of vitality and the points of destruction weakness. Even with the weak points identified, they pose no threat to them, Luo Feng realized just by looking, because the avatars of the primogenitor Yang Feng, Thunder Ancestor, and the East Extreme Domain Ancestor were too mighty. With the ultimate power on the land of origin, targeting their fatal weaknesses would be useless against them. Luo Feng continued to observe other areas. He observed the functioning of the land of origin, the functioning of the universe ocean. He looked at the primordial cosmos across 3,000 dimensions, each one as if he were observing it closely. With a blink of his eye at the brow, Luo Feng clearly saw the core of the land of origin, the 9 origin Great Tao that formed the supreme rules. The Great Tao itself allows godly kings to glimpse, not setting barriers against the creatures within the source world. Thus, with the eye of life and death, Luo Feng saw the complete supreme rules. This is supreme rules. Luo Feng watched. To comprehend the supreme rules, one must first understand these 9 origin Great Tao, and then penetrate the perfect cooperation between the 9 origin Great Tao, ultimately forming the supreme rules. Once the supreme rules are comprehended, naturally one would have already escaped the braided cage and might even hope to create a new source world. Luo Feng speculated. He could see it, but it was of no use. Like how mortals can see the sun and speculate about its life cycle. Yet, to create a sun is billions of times more difficult than simply observing it. Observation, however, is indeed the most important step taken. Luo Feng now understood the significance of the eye of life and death. Most cultivators are fumbling in the dark, gaining a bit more awareness of the world outside the braided cage through methods like studying the bodies of high-level primordial life and such. But the eye of life and death allowed Luo Feng to peer beyond the braided cage and understand the greater secrets of higher levels. Such an opportunity at this level would only be bestowed upon the most dazzling geniuses amongst countless worlds by entities like Yuan. With another blink of an eye, the probing of the eye of life and death already broke through the membrane wall of the source world, seeing the vast and boundless primordial force outside. Even though after death, the eye of life and death will return to infinite space, this is still a tremendous opportunity, Luo Feng understood. In terms of complexity, the eye of life and death is not as profound as Star Tower. But in terms of assisting in cultivation, the effects of the eye of life and death are much better. Even so, the previous 12 exchanges were each considered peerless geniuses, but only one managed to escape the braided cage, and even the one who escaped ended up dying in battle. Luo Feng also understood, the road was hard. In infinite space, he had seen dozens of treasures ranked higher than the eye of life and death. As for those of even higher value, he was not yet qualified to see them. Of the exchanges of those treasures in history, likely many were astonishing talents, but how many could successfully escape the braided cage? Luo Feng sat cross-legged inside the Star Tower with the eye of life and death between his brows opened, watching the land of origin, and even the endless primordial flows beyond the land of origin. One glance, and I can see the entire source world, even beyond the source world. Is this the observation ability of a high-level primordial life? Luo Feng thought. He also had a clear awareness. Although the eye of life and death is refined from the corpse of a complete world-level primordial life and death pupil beast, it is still used by himself. His own observational power certainly hasn't reached the level of a world-level primordial life. From the abundant information in the infinite space treasure vault, Luo Feng could determine primordial ancestors, world-level primordial lives, high-level primordial lives, and low-level primordial lives. Their status decreases in that order. The differences between the levels are vast. In Luo Feng's view, with the observational ability of a world-level primordial life, the ancestors of 2 nations, the East Extreme Domain Ancestor, should be seen clearly and completely, with no secrets at all. To allow a creature within a braided cage to possess the observational ability of a high-level primordial life stepping out of the cage. This eye of life and destruction is indeed a priceless treasure. Luo Feng no longer looked outward, but instead focused on his surroundings. Sigh? Luo Feng's eye of life and death first observed the deep secret patterns of the Star Tower. Boom! On Earth, ordinary people observe with the naked eye, the microscope, X-rays, different methods show different things. It's the same principle. As a second realm godly king, with a divine emperor level will, the deep secret patterns of the star tower he normally observed are very different from what the Eye of Life and Destruction sees now. Under the observation of the Eye of Life and Death, Luo Feng was somewhat astonished. The deep secret patterns of the star tower, in his view, exist simultaneously across multiple time-space dimensions, resembling a magnificent time-space structure. The innermost layer of this structure is set in a time that is completely still. The blood-red scales are fixed in a certain point in time forever. Time-locked. Eternally unchanging. No matter how long the external world passes, those blood-red scales are just as they were at the beginning. It's so beautiful. Luo Feng watched. The blood-red scales, shimmering with 12 colors, were eternal and unchanging, with time and space collapsing into a fixed point around it. From the core point outward, space gradually unfolds. As space takes shape, time begins to flow slowly. These secret patterns operate while existing in every flowing timeline. Viewing different spaces usually requires reaching a high realm in the origin Tao of space. Viewing different timelines also requires a very high level in the path of time. But Luo Feng's Eye of Life and Death easily sees all this, even some very secret information still couldn't escape its scrutiny. In my previous years, I devised 8 branches fusion techniques. Luo Feng shook his head lightly, looking at it now, my vision was too shallow. My techniques, too, have too many weaknesses. Luo Feng flipped his hand as if eating candy, and ate a primordial crystal, then focused on studying the deep secret patterns of the star tower. I need to reorganize the knowledge system I've accumulated on the paths of life, destruction, and life and death. Luo Feng began his research. The Eye of Life and Death only assisted Luo Feng, allowing him to see some information that high-level primordial lives could easily see. But how to analyze this information? How to thoroughly study it? And then integrate it into his own path, making it a part of his own great Tao? This required comprehension. This is also why Senior Yuan and others screened out the topmost geniuses from many worlds. If talent isn't sufficient, even given resources, it's a waste. The previous 12 exchanges of the Eye of Life and Death also had high talents, but their achievements were very ordinary. For Yuan and others, becoming a world-level primordial life was worthy of joy. As for one more high-level primordial life, it was not worth mentioning. Luo Feng had arrived in the land of origin for merely 800 eras, yet he had reached his current realm accumulation. His talent was undoubtedly far beyond the strongest of the land of origin across generations. In the Holy Land Mt. of Thunder ancient country, a space where the Thunder Ancestor resided in seclusion. The remnants of special lives from the deep layers of the dream domain, deep within the heavenly pillar realm, I accumulated a total of 6 pieces, sold them over the long years one by one, and now I'm left with just one. Thunder Ancestor looked at a golden finger bone in front of him. Across the different eras of the land of origin, I cultivated monarchs to help me collect treasures. Various rare treasures, various secret treasures. They also helped me achieve perfection in the Divine Emperor realm. Thunder Ancestor's gaze was cold. I have observed high-level primordial life prisoners many times. I even attempted to dissect their bodies. And I've exchanged information with many of the strongest from various worlds. But how to awaken ultimately? I still have no clue. Thunder Ancestor looked at the golden finger bone in front of him, the last piece of special life remnants, and also the most important one to him. He gazed at the golden finger bone, his spiritual will penetrating, able to see the thunder secret patterns contained within it, and could vaguely see a towering behemoth. Senior Yuan once personally told me that my breakthrough opportunity lies within this phalanx. Just understanding a hint of it could lead to ultimate awakening, lamented the Thunder Ancestor with frustration. A hint? The Thunder Ancestor, in agony, continued, it's right before me, yet despite studying it for multiple eras, I remain completely baffled. In fact, the Thunder Ancestor had long realized that his comprehension was weak. Achieving the ultimate realm, he took tens of times longer than the primogenitor Yang Feng. He never even managed to comprehend the path to that divine emperor realm. That's why he abandoned the Enlightened One lineage and switched to cultivating the primordial bloodline. The primordial bloodline was indeed easier, as all it required was to tap into the blood's potential. Relying on time and resources, and with some opportunities, he forcibly reached his current state. Despite both being divine emperors at perfection, those most terrifying beings could obliterate me with just a slap. The Thunder Ancestor was very aware of the gap. Divine Emperor perfection is equivalent to the half-primordial level. The gap could still be significant. Naturally, those of the Enlightened One lineage at Divine Emperor perfection are much stronger. Among the countless powerful beings in myriad worlds, there are even more spectacular ones. Some have elevated not just one path but several to the half-primordial level. There are even those who have begun to merge different half-primordial paths, and some who can tap into world-level primordial bloodline power. Those beings are truly awe-inspiring. Among those beings, some have stepped out of their constraints to become high-level primordial lives. It's even said, some have reached the level of world-level primordial life. Compared with those beings, the Thunder Ancestor was just an insignificant figure standing in the furthest corner. No clues at all, sighed the Thunder Ancestor as he looked at the phalanx before him, calming his mind, and continued his detailed research. Atop Mount Leitang, two monarchs met. "White demon, you really have some nerve," said the sacred-looking man covered in bluish-white scales with 3 scale-armored tails, displeasedly looking towards the pale-skinned elder. "Aside from some minor border nations, you even dare to send your men to capture tribes within some wilderness areas of our Thunder ancient country. Land Duo monarch, you found out about this." The white demon monarch smiled. "My subordinates have been very careful, spread out across the various primal chaos prefectures of Thunder ancient country and made minor movements. Other monarchs haven't noticed, yet you did." Land Duo monarch frowned. "It's one thing to target some edge kingdoms, but why act within our country? The entire land of origin is bound for destruction. Almost all creatures of Thunder ancient country must die," said the white demon monarch nonchalantly. "So, for some wilderness areas in our Thunder ancient country, what does it matter if I capture some creatures? Land Duo, as you know, Galaxy Divine Country has occupied a vast territory. Suitable domains for us to plunder are diminishing. You too send your subordinates to plunder." After thinking it through, "I could only start within our country." White demon chuckled. "Our country is vast enough. As long as it doesn't cause a huge uproar, no one will care." Land Duo monarch looked at his fellow. He was covetous. "You can join in the action too," white demon laughed. "Keep a low profile," Land Duo monarch spoke. "Do not touch any major cities. As for wilderness areas, let's split them, each taking half of the primal chaos prefecture. The number of captive creatures should not exceed 1/10 of the wilderness area." "You are harsher than me. My plundering is far from 1/10. The white demon monarch laughed heartily. Despite the plundering by subordinates of these two monarchs, Land Duo monarch and white demon monarch of Thunder ancient country, they had been extremely cautious. Moreover, Land of Origin was already in turmoil with wars, and internally, Thunder ancient country hadn't detected the issue for a short period. However, as time slowly passed, especially with the robbery throughout Thunder ancient country, it eventually triggered numerous chain reactions. After all, tribes in the wilderness had relatives hunting outside or settling in large cities. So when entire tribes were plundered, it eventually raised investigation from many survivors, and the investigations grew louder, involving even the royal family Godly King. In the capital of Galaxy Divine Country. What audacity! Emperor Guishu, looking at the intelligence report in his hand, was furious. He turned to Wuxin Godly King. "Wuxin, are you sure the information you gathered is correct?" "You know my capability to escape detection," sneered Wuxin Godly King. "The uproar has already started in Thunder ancient country." Initially, the royal family Godly King of Thunder ancient country started furiously investigating this matter, but then it stopped abruptly, which I found suspicious. I was also curious who could be so bold. This plundering not only offends Thunder ancient country but also offends the galaxy ruler. Out of curiosity, I investigated in detail. Aha, it turned out to be an inside job by Thunder ancient country. Wuxin Godly King shook his head. "Those responsible for the plunder, the eternal true gods I've traced back to White Demon Monarch and Land Duo Monarch. These two monarch subordinates are not only plundering within Thunder Ancient Country but also in some border nations. The plundering has been going on for about 70 eras. It's been 70 eras? Emperor Guishu was furious. Such a long time and large-scale plundering, they utterly disregarded our ruler. I'll report this to the ruler immediately. Emperor Guishu immediately stood up and left. Wuxin Godly King watched this scene. During the investigation, he too was infuriated, but he was in no position to provoke the monarchs of Thunder Ancient Country. I wonder how the galaxy ruler will handle this, thought Wuxin Godly King. Emperor Guishu held a high position within Galaxy Divine Country and met Morosa right away to report the matter. Inside the palace. What? Morosa was also shocked and furious upon receiving the news. What audacity from White Demon Monarch and Land Duo Monarch, they completely disregarded our lord. Lord? Morosa immediately communicated via spiritual will to Luo Feng. Huyang City, within the quiet room of the city owner's mansion, inside the Star Tower space. Ever since obtaining the Eye of Life and Death, the world Luo Feng saw was different. He was comprehensively organizing his knowledge system, perfecting one secret technique after another. Master, Morosa communicated mentally. Luo Feng slowly opened his eyes, temporarily halting his cultivation. Morosa, what is it? Without something significant enough, Morosa did not dare to disturb him. Master, the White Demon Monarch and Land Duo Monarch of the Thunder Ancient Country have secretly dispatched their subordinates to quietly plunder some border kingdoms and within the Thunder Ancient Country for about 70 eras, communicated Morosa. 70 eras of accumulated plundering is a tremendously large number of creatures. Luo Feng slightly frowned. The last time he acted, he primarily targeted the top 10 great sinners on the land of origin, such as the ancient royal family godly kings, emperors, monarchs, who were hiding in the capital's dens or in Mount Leitang. Luo Feng couldn't do anything back then, so he chose to lure the snake out of its hole to bring out Di Yuan. Killing Di Yuan served to deter the land of origin. Since the establishment of the Galaxy Divine Kingdom over 370 eras, I haven't taken action again, Luo Feng said softly. As long as no more great sins are committed, I will let bygones be bygones. Who would have thought, my temper is still too good. Letting bygones be bygones was also a tacit understanding between the Galaxy Divine Kingdom and the two ancient countries at that time. After all, Luo Feng couldn't do anything to primogenitor Yang Feng, Thunder Ancestor. Many things still required a step back. Master, your temper is too good. In my opinion, you should regularly patrol the land of origin. Kill those found committing great sins, said Morosa. Master, you are busy cultivating. Such tasks of patrolling the land of origin can be completely entrusted to me. Discover a great sinner, kill one. Regularly. Kill until these great sinners are frightened, Morosa continued. Then those emperors, monarchs would no longer dare to hold on to lucky hopes. What you say makes sense, Luo Feng said. By the way, how did you find out about this matter? It was reported by Emperor Guishu. I'll send the detailed intelligence to the master. Morosa immediately sent the complete intelligence. Luo Feng checked it. Such detailed intelligence. It doesn't quite match Emperor Guishu's style of handling things. Buzz. Luo Feng's Eye of Life and Death at his brow opened, looking towards the galaxy capital of the Divine Kingdom, at a glance, seeing Emperor Guishu, and also noticing Wuxin God King in Emperor Guishu's cave mansion. Does this matter have something to do with Wuxin God King? Luo Feng pondered. Wuxin God King was cautious in his actions with excellent stealth techniques, capable of uncovering such detailed intelligence. Of course, Luo Feng would not fully trust this intelligence. Believing whoever complains directly would make him a tool for others' manipulation. The intelligence recorded some important subordinates of the White Demon Monarch and Land Duo Monarch. Luo Feng saw these names and generated causality. Using the Eye of Life and Death, he instantly locked onto one target after another. Luo Feng's Eye of Life and Death lock was clearer than that of an ordinary godly king ultimate realm targeting. Old Chen God King. Luo Feng locked onto a godly king of the first realm, Old Chen God King being the key figure under Lan Duo monarch responsible for the plunder. I knew it, shouldn't have plundered within the Thunder Ancient country's borders. But the monarchs forced my hand. Old Chen God King was restless in his cave mansion. After 70 eras of plundering, the accumulation is too much and the impact too great. Multiple royal godly kings have traced this matter. The act of plunder by the subordinates sent by White Demon Monarch and Lan Duo Monarch, even within the Thunder Ancient country, was no secret within the royal family. But this matter was a huge scandal, temporarily suppressed. The royal family cannot do anything to the two monarchs, but I am in trouble. Old Chen God King was very uneasy. Suddenly, a terrifying mental wave enveloped Old Chen God King instantly. Old Chen God King felt utterly confused, his consciousness muddled, with no ability to resist. With the eye of life and death from afar, Luo Feng could descend with mental will. With the deepening understanding of the Great Tao, Luo Feng's mental will was also slowly rising. When it exceeded Divine Emperor threshold by 50%, his mental will's strength touched the upper limit of the land of origin. Although the mental will can still very slowly increase on the land of origin, it can no longer exert stronger powers. The Lai Yuan technique, besides defeating enemies, also includes some secret techniques of suppressing and confusing enemies. Just that in the past, Luo Feng generally aimed to completely annihilate enemies. However, under the mental will of Luo Feng at this moment, Old Chen God King was utterly confused with no ability to resist. With a confused consciousness and no ability to resist, I can indeed examine his memory. Luo Feng thought. With a clear consciousness. Even with the eye of life and death, Luo Feng could only glimpse a few of Old Chen God King's clearest thoughts, unable to browse his memories fully. But a confused consciousness deprived of the ability to resist allowed Luo Feng to easily observe memories. This was an observation ability possessed by high-level primordial life. Indeed, he was dispatched by Lan Duo Monarch, Luo Feng checked, feeling a surging killing intent upon discovery. The most loyal minion of Lan Duo Monarch, fully responsible for the plunder. The plunder in border kingdoms was relatively smaller, given their smaller territorial scope. The wilderness area of the Thunder Ancient country, divided in two by Lan Duo and White Demon Monarch. Over 70 eras, the accumulated plundered creatures should reach about 1/20th of the wilderness area's creatures. 1/20th. Luo Feng was very shocked. Thunder Ancient country, in terms of scope, may be equal to several first-class kingdoms. However, as the most core and prosperous place on the land of origin, the number of creatures bred here far exceeds some border kingdoms. In the Thunder Ancient country, over 90% of creatures reside in the wilderness area. Those who can enter the cities are the minority. Yet for the wilderness area's creatures, these two monarchs have cumulatively plundered about 1/20th. How massive is that number of creatures? The wilderness area is vast, with scattered tribes making it very difficult to tally the total number. However, Old Chen God King, being fully responsible under Lan Duo Monarch, could estimate a rough ratio based on total data. He even had detailed figures of plundered creatures in his memory. This, Old Chen God King's memory contained recollections of repeatedly transporting plundered creatures to Lan Duo Monarch. Each transport scale was measured in trillions of creatures, continuously delivered over 70 eras. The total made Luo Feng's heart tremble. Compared to Lan Duo Monarch, the Emperor of Tian Kuan was insignificant. When an ancient country's monarch goes mad, it's genuinely terrifying, Luo Feng murmured. The number one sinner on the land of origin, Iron Demon Lord, was backed by Di Yuan. Di Yuan should have been the one who plundered the most creatures on the land of origin. Even back then, when teachers like Emperor Chu joined forces to help, Luo Feng still didn't hesitate and killed Di Yuan. The one who seemed like the second sinner on the surface, Black Vulture Ancestor, was backed by several monarchs from the Thunder Ancient country, possibly including Lan Duo Monarch. The dog that can't stop eating excrement, the monarchs of the Thunder Ancient country who love devouring creatures, having no Black Vulture Ancestor to help, even laid hands within their country's borders. Luo Feng's eye of life and death at his brow looked towards Mount Leitang. Rumble tilde tilde tilde. Majestic. Magnificent. Unshakable. As the premier holy land of the entire land of origin, even Thunder Ancestor has avatars residing here, such as Land Duo Monarch, White Demon Monarch, and other monarchs also live here. What of Mount Letang? With his eye of life and death, Luo Feng viewed more of Mount Letang's mysteries and could discern its strengths and weak points. Though Mount Letang is formidable, with my current strength, in conjunction with the Star Tower and the Eye of Life and Death, it's enough to breach it. Luo Feng gazed remotely, looking at the terrifying figure inside a secret space atop Mount Letang. Yet what makes Mount Letang truly terrifying is primarily the Thunder Ancestor hidden within. Luo Feng's Eye of Life and Death broke through barriers of Mount Letang, spatial obstructions, and array obstructions, seeing the true form of Thunder Ancestor. Such a terrifying physical body, his body is much stronger than primogenitor Yang Feng. Luo Feng could observe some fundamentals of the counterpart. A body so powerful as to be inconceivably resistant. If it were outside the land of origin without the restriction of its capabilities, Thunder Ancestor could probably crush the few secret treasures left by Di Yuan with a flick. Although I can see his weak points, Thunder Ancestor just sitting there, allowing me to attack freely, within the limitations of the land of origin's power, I still can't hurt him whatsoever. If he chooses to shield Mount Letang, I equally can't breach it. Luo Feng understood this point. If the monarchs were in charge of Mount Letang, he could breach it. Thunder Ancestor personally taking action? No chance. The same reasoning applies. For him to protect Huyang City or Galaxy Capital, the two primogenitors couldn't breach them. On the land of origin, Luo Feng, East Extreme Domain Ancestor, Emperor Qing, and the two primogenitors couldn't do anything to each other, and even if one had the upper hand, they couldn't hurt the other. They couldn't do anything to each other, thus requiring mutual compromise. Luo Feng killed Di Yuan, and primogenitor Yang Feng didn't come to see Luo Feng, as if the event didn't happen, just endured it. The royal family godly king committed various sins in the past, and Luo Feng also endured it. Both sides had a tacit understanding. Yet this mutual understanding was broken by Land Duo Monarch and White Demon Monarch. The two of them must die. The batches of plundered creatures in Old Chen God King's memory subjected Luo Feng to uncontrollable killing intent. Such scum cannot be allowed to live. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In a hidden space atop Mount Letang, Thunder Ancestor continued to scrutinize that section of golden finger bone, carefully pondering and researching, when suddenly, Thunder Ancestor. A voice sounded in Thunder Ancestor's ear. Thunder Ancestor gave a jolt, his complexion changed dramatically. Impossible. Thunder Ancestor could not believe it. This is Mount Letang. Mount Letang is a divine emperor-level cave mansion secret treasure refined by my own hands. I even personally opened this hidden space, arranging formations. Even Yang Feng could only contact me using communication treasures. Thunder Ancestor, I am Galaxy. Luo Feng's voice sounded. Thunder Ancestor's eyes faintly flashed with lightning. Previously, he hadn't considered the Galaxy ruler, thinking perhaps he was just a junior who barely crossed into the early stage of Divine Emperor. But at this moment, he dared not underestimate him at all. The means to break through cave mansion secret treasures, space, and numerous formation barriers to transmit sounds to his ear were somewhat too terrifying. It seems I underestimated the Galaxy ruler. Thunder Ancestor spoke. Thunder Ancestor, do you know that the White Demon Monarch and Land Duo Monarch have plundered living beings within the Thunder Ancient Country's borders for a full 70 eras, and the total quantity of plundered creatures has broken the trillions mark? Luo Feng said. Thunder Ancestor was taken aback. Trillions? Even in the Thunder Ancient Country, reaching such a quantity is still considered a vast number of creatures. I have not started a killing spree since I killed Di Yuan. As long as cultivators on the land of origin don't commit great sins, I won't pursue past matters. But with what White Demon and Land Duo have done, they are utterly disregarding me. Luo Feng's voice sounded in Thunder Ancestor's ear. Of course, they are monarchs of the Thunder Ancient Country, and how they are disposed of naturally should be determined by the primogenitor, Luo Feng transmitted. I will investigate this matter and verify it, Thunder Ancestor responded, then laughed. Galaxy ruler, Your strength is unfathomable. Once this matter is settled, I, Yang Feng, and you, the three of us should gather. Sure. Luo Feng replied, then ceased transmitting, closing his eye of life and death no longer to probe Mount Leyte. This episode is end here.